Hey guys, GameFan here back with another Path of Exile video. I wanted to drop a quick update on the Loop Scion incredible best character in the game. Somebody asked a couple of weeks ago if this build still works in 3.21, and I feel really shit about not answering, so I wanted to drop this video instead where I go over some of the changes and then I'm going to demonstrate how the build works. First of all, the items. Let's go over the items quickly because it didn't change. These are still viable. Annihilating Light, amazing, deal triple damage. You're gonna have 0.4 times multi on your resistances. So for example, if an item gives you 50 resistances, it's going to give you 20 instead. You have to stack a lot of resistances to this build. Skin of the Lords are incredibly expensive. I checked this specific color combination, not even matching the keystone is 8 divines, and there is I think 0 on the market with this color combination and pain attunement as well. An Ice Spear additional projectile Runic Crown is going to be around 8 divines, just the base, and then you'll need to craft incredible amounts of ward on it. The build is still not cheap, but I feel like it's not the make or breaker of this build. You can just not use an additional projectile, it's still possible. Omniscience, this is a high-end variation. You can just use like a +1 cold amulet. Those are not terribly expensive, and you can fix resistances too. An Omniscience is like 20 divines right now. Hardbound Loop, just again straight percent stat corruption, still the same as with the multi-stats, like triple stats ring. Gloves, cold exposure, unnerve, bunch of ward, same idea with boots, movement speeds, resistances, ward, cooldown recovery, action speed. This belt is again still pretty expensive. It's there is nothing like this on the market. I think base idea would be just cooldown recovery, flash charges used, and flask effect duration. If you can have life on it, that's perfect. If it has armor, don't buy it, it's gonna mess up your build. All rots resolve. Mine is not even that good. It's like 50C to get something like this, and you can even get some nice colorations on the foil versions. Dying Sun, another cheap flask. Mine is something along the lines of 2 divines, I think. The gem setup changed a little bit because we don't have onslaught support anymore, so your second 6th link cannot use onslaught. That's minus movement speed for map clear. Arcane Surge doesn't give spell damage anymore. It's cast speed, which is completely useless for us. I think everything else is unchanged. Like you're still using anomalous summon skeletons with divergent cast when damage taken. Same as here, divergent cast when damage taken, same as here. On the high end setup, on the lower end, you can just use regular ones. It's gonna cast a bit less, so you're gonna have less triggers. Enhanced divergent RF, forbidden right cast when damage taken. Eternal Blessing Hatred, Arrogance Herald of Ice for the high-end Pain Attunement version, because you cannot get Pain Attunement on the tree. And while we're talking about the tree, we have lost this Flask Mastery. I think it used to be Flask gain X Flash charges over, I don't know, it used to be passive Flash generation. But now you can have chance to gain fast charges when you deal a crit. I think technically it is better sustained during maps. It's a bit more sporadic, like you're not gonna get them that consistently, but it is going to be better while you are mapping. If I just started the loop right now, I would, in like a couple of minutes, I would just die randomly because it cannot sustain anymore without this node. But you can just solve it by having 3 flasks. It's a bit easier. Large cluster jewels like this don't really exist in the league yet. Like this is probably best in slot. I think it is best in slot with the double stats and the 35 effect. It is gonna be expensive once you get to this point. I think this was 30 divines for me. The medium cluster jewels are ink effect on flask effect duration with a fasting node. An intuitive leap setup unchanged, just take recoup, mana, staff node, or is this caster? Yeah, this caster node. Oh, it's actually staff, whatever. Mana and spell damage and herald effect for the endgame setup. This exact brutal restraint. There is currently 2 on the league for 1 and 3 divines. The reason I have it is because it gives you percent dex here, percent dex here, percent dex here, and it gives a max life here. It's really strong in case you are doing the Omniscience version. Unnatural Instinct unchanged. This jewel is just pretty simple, like a 1 divine jewel. Hatred, crit, Watcher's Eye, pretty simple. You make sure you have this chance to gain Frenzy Charge when you hit a marked enemy node. Forbidden Flash, Forbidden Flame with Deadeye. This is 15 divines to get both of them, I think. And then eye to eye repeater, medium cluster jewel, and the other one is fasting. So you don't need the super fancy belt setup for you to have 4 flasks running at the same time. I'm gonna do like a Conqueror map to showcase that the build is still incredibly strong. Now you have to keep in mind that mine is a pretty expensive. I think it's 1.5 mirrors, I think. That's where I've stopped. But the setup is still the same, like you just activate your Aura's Flask, you weapon swap with the summon minions, and you die because you are bad. Fuck. I didn't even know what I died. I think I hit the... Yeah, I usually don't like turning on my low life setup during a mapping because you can just die to random shit like that. If you accidentally take too much damage, it's just gonna happen. I don't know, you can't really do anything about it, just don't do a low life setup during mapping. Low life setup is for absolute minimaxing the single target DPS. Elder Slayers, wow. So like this. And it needs a little time to stabilize. And he's dead. Like, I feel like we still got it with the DPS. It just, you know, there's a couple minute things that changed, but the build overall is still incredibly powerful. So does the build still work in 3.21? I feel like it sure as fuck does, especially since you've probably seen that Asmongold is also playing a Ward Loop character. I haven't checked what he's playing exactly. Maybe I should. I don't know, that's gonna be probably my next binge watch session, just watch his PoE videos. Anyway, I hope you like this little check-in on if the build still works. I could probably do this with other builds as well. Let me know if you think I've missed anything in the comments, and until the next video, guys, see you later. Bye!